I started out with my volunteer relationship with AARP as a Capital City Task Force volunteer. I got this great message from Doug McNutt, and he's the gentleman that manages our task force group. And it says, "Hey, come on up to AARP on this certain night at a certain time and find out what this is all about." So I did that, and that was a couple of years ago, and it was one of the best things I've done. I had never really had a full appreciation for our legislative process, so I certainly learned quite a bit about that. You know, we know these folks up at the State House vote on these bills and some of them become laws and stuff, but the actual way that really happens was definitely an unknown to me. Um, and shortly after I began my experience with Capital City Task Force, I had the honor of participating in our primary back a little while ago. And I have to tell you, that was one of the most impactful experiences that I have had as a retiree and as a volunteer. You don't know how much impact a single person can have. And then when we bind together with a group of people under a common cause, it is just amazing. We took our direction in conjunction with our national office. And as was said earlier by Jeannie, we are absolutely nonpartisan. But what was important to us is to get our issues in front of the candidates and get their stance and positions on those things. Well, boy, did we ever. We attended event after event after event. It was almost dizzying. We had staff join us from other states and combine up with our teams and help with those efforts. And it got to the point where we would walk into a venue, and this is back in the face-to-face days, and they would see our red fleeces, and they would know exactly the question. They would start answering the questions before we even got a word out of our mouths, because we had such a vibrant and consistent presence. And it was loud and clear. And it was amazing, even on a local level, because not only was that a national effort to lower prescription drug costs, but that was very much a local effort as well within the state of New Hampshire. And due to our local level of advocacy with our senators and representatives here in our state, we were able to pass incredibly impactful legislation last year to benefit the citizenry of New Hampshire and to lower prescription drug costs, particularly insulin. Our folks who are insulin dependent have no alternative but to get insulin, regardless of how much it costs. And 1 out of 5 of our folks were rationing their medications because they could not afford to take their prescribed doses. So with a lot of the legislators and Todd and Doug, we got right on that, and we provided testimony. We built a coalition with other agencies, and we were able to secure $30 caps on insulin prescription refills. And we were also able to pass the ability to import medications and more transparency in that entire pharmacological world out there. So great work was done. There's an opportunity to do all kinds of levels of advocacy. You don't have to be spending every minute of your time, attending these hearings and such. You can do what you can do, what you're comfortable with, and the time that you have to give over to us. But even in our virtual world, we've maintained a very active role in attending hearings virtually, doing virtual testimony on various bills, writing letters to the editor, contacting our legislators. And so it's a very vibrant experience. And I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to Roger so that he can add to what we've been talking about.
I just want to give you some idea of my experience with AARP. And I'd like to start with the fact that I retired in 2012, the end of 2012. And I saw an ad in the newspaper saying, are there any people interested in doing presentations regarding Obamacare? Well, I was hooked. That was an interest of mine for some time. And as you probably recall, there was a lot of objection to Obamacare, even though it provided low-income and uninsured people opportunities to get insured. So when I responded, I was trained, I was supported, and I was given the opportunity to go out and do presentations to different groups of the public that were interested in hearing more. And it was done in a very low-key fashion, a way to be able to encourage people to learn more, not to present it as I was the expert and knew everything about it. Of course, I didn't. And I was looking forward to hearing what people were interested in and what they wanted to know, and dispelling some of the falsehoods and myths about the Affordable Care Act. So that was my beginning with AARP. And what I'd like to do now is just talk to you about more recent experiences that I've had the opportunity to pursue. One of the things that you learn about AARP, somehow food becomes part of everything we do. And certainly those are two experiences I'd like to relate to right now. One was relating to an opportunity to advocate for some of the things that Bev was talking about with our legislators in person. And thanks to Doug and Todd and AARP, they sponsored a breakfast for legislators one morning. And it really worked out well, where we had a chance to pigeonhole our own legislators, our own representatives, and anybody else we could grab hold of and talk to. So it gave us the opportunity to talk about issues of concern to AARP members and particular legislation we're working on. Another food-related event had to do with politics and eggs, but it's really had to do with politics rather than the eggs, but the eggs were great. As some of you might know about it, it's an opportunity that's sponsored by the New England Council, and through them, AARP has reserved 2 dining tables, and it's located over in Bedford, where on a pretty regular occasion, we've had an opportunity to raise questions about things like Social Security and other matters of definite interest to AARP members with presidential candidates and other movers and shakers. And for example, I had the opportunity to directly address one of the presidential candidates. So it's one of those rare things that we're offered the opportunity to do through AARP. Another event had to do with caregiving. I have been a caregiver for about 17 years and didn't know much about it. I just learned on a job, but apparently I learned enough to be nominated by AARP to be on a caregivers commission. And that commission is studying the needs of caregivers. And so through AARP, depending on your interest and what the subject matter is, you are at times given the opportunity to serve on something very important to the state and to the members of AARP and the rest of the state, obviously. Another opportunity that I had was testifying before the Senate Finance Committee and or the House of Representatives Finance Committee. And again, thanks to the support and to the drafting of a statement and the encouragement of AARP, I was able to do that in a public venue when we could meet person to person and give people, the legislators in particular, our 2 cents worth and advocate for those things that are really important to each individual, but to, again, to other members of people 50 and older here in New Hampshire. So those are some of the experiences that I've had, and there are many others as well. But I just wanted to highlight these because throughout all of these experiences, you're given, the information that you need. You're given the opportunity. There's no pressure. You're given the benefit of AARP research teams. So depending on your talent, your interest, and those opportunities that you want to take advantage of, there's plenty to do. So it's been an extremely positive experience for me, and I just want to pass that along to anybody else that might be interested. Thank you.